Hey, what's up, fellas? How you doing? Man, Antonelli here.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How we doing? Man, Antonelli here. One of our players, Sam Beliveau over here, just gave me a great idea for a video. He said, you know, Coach, you don't do enough one-handed stuff, which I personally think I do. But he said, I want a one-handed video. He said he uses one hand a lot, which is true. Every position, as an infielder, right? Whether you're third baseman, first baseman, middle infielder, you've got to be able to use one hand just as well as you use two. Now, depending on the position, you might use it a little bit more or less. Usually the corners, third base and first base, are going to use one hand more than the middle guys are. But regardless of the position, you've got to feel comfortable using one hand and two hands. And one thing, when you're younger, it's stressed upon young players all the time. Use two hands, use two hands, use two hands, right? And sometimes when younger players try to use one hand, they get yelled at. I've seen that before. And like I said, you've got to be able to use both. So here's the general rule. If the ball is within the framework of my body, so the ball is between my shoulders, I'm going to use two hands. If the ball is outside the framework of my body, I'm going to use one hand. And I encourage players to use one hand when the ball is outside the framework of their body, okay? And if you're a coach, I would recommend making sure that you stress this to players because, again, when I see a lot of young players that come to us, they'll try to make everything a two-handed play, right? Or they don't feel free and confident to use their backhand. So they try to do this to use two hands because they've been yelled at to get in front of the ball. As you move up in levels, if you want to play infield at a higher level, and I'm not talking about major leagues or professional or college, I'm talking about high school, I'm talking about really almost any level. If I want to be a good infielder, I have to be able to use one hand. I have to be able to backhand the ball. I have to feel comfortable going forehand and using one hand. And even sometimes I have to be comfortable with using one hand within the framework of my body. If I have to step up, or I have to go get that short hop, or create a short hop. I got to feel comfortable sometimes to reach out and field it one hand. Slow rollers, I got to feel comfortable using one hand, right? And so we do a lot of stuff where in practice we force the player to use one hand. So I practiced a few days ago. We'll start off rolling and then we'll hit and we'll go, okay, within the framework of your body, two hands. And they've got to work on getting around the ball, field the ball two hands, making a throw, right? But then we'll go, okay, one hand plays outside the framework of our body. And so we'll roll the ball to their left and their right and force them to use one hand. If the ball's a backhand ball, but it's not hit super far, we'll still take a backhand route to it. We'll just make the angle sharper. So instead of me trying to fight around it here and get it with two hands, I'll just take a sharp angle so if the ball's there. I'll take a sharp angle this way, backhand it, throw it, right? And so that's a play that everyone needs to have in their toolbox. I call it inside the body backhand. But it's a ball where, let's say we've got a fast runner and I don't have time to get around this. Well, the quickest way for me to get to the ball and deliver it to first base is to take a sharp angle this way and then just turn my glove over, backhand it, right to left to target, and throw, right? If you're not comfortable doing that, if you don't practice that, well then yeah, at a certain level, I can try to get around it and maybe I still get them out because the runners are slower. Or maybe what I see sometimes is they'll try to get around it and then they'll field it and they'll throw and they'll beat it out, but they'll say, hey, nice play right there, right? But when you get to a certain level, it's all about getting the guy out, right? So it's not about, getting in front of it. It's not about, just fielding the ball, but him being safe. He's got to be out. So if I want to play at that level, then that play might call for me to backhand the ball. I've got to practice it. I've got to be comfortable with one hand, right? Same thing on the forehand side. If I try to get all four hands with two hands, well, this is a tough play. For me to run full speed and try to get down with two hands, right? I don't have the reach that I have. I have a much more of a reach with one hand. Once I bring my second hand in here, my reach decreases. Here, I can reach further. And I'm just more free, right? Once I get my second hand in here, I'm not free. I start to get stiff, okay? So when you're in practice, you're a player, coach, start off with the drill work of, all right, we're going to do two hands. Okay, we're going to do one hand, right? And it can be, again, rolled. It can be short fungoed. It can be long fungoed. we'll do a drill where I'll sit on a knee right there. I've put it up before online, where I'll just flip the ball up, right? So I'll just flip the ball, and they've got to come in, and they've got to get everything on the short hop one-handed, right? I'll flip the ball. They've got to attack it, get it one-handed. Everything's one hand, okay? Then you can go into taking that skill that you just built, and then put them into something more live. Whether it's coach flipping the ball, or someone flipping a ball and someone smashing it, or it's then scrimmage and game, and then having the player take what they learned in practice and put it into the game and feel comfortable doing it in the game. And maybe a scrimmage type game is better for the player first because they don't feel, oh, this is a game. I've got to make sure that I, keep that ball in front of me. Feel free to go ahead and use one hand. The only way you'll get better is by using it. Again, in a game type atmosphere. All right, so taking the skill you build in practice, getting comfortable with it, and then taking it to the game. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, Sam said that he wanted to hear a little bit more about one-handed plays, and so it is super, super important. And I've had conversations with college coaches a lot about this. Some really, really good college coaches, and I can remember one conversation in particular. They said, what do you think about the flat glove? And I said, I like the flat glove because I think I had a video on the flat glove or something. I said, I like the flat glove. I think it's good for using two hands and getting the ball off the same point of the glove every time, all the things we teach. And he said, the biggest thing I see in college is players get to me and they don't know how to use one hand. He's like, they're great with two hands, but they don't know how to use one hand. And so he said, I'm not a huge fan of the flat glove. And I said, fair enough, like that totally makes sense. I agree that we do need to be able to use one hand. So again, flat glove is great to work on this, but you can't always just do flat glove. I've got to be comfortable again with one hand if you want to play at a high level. All right, that's all we got. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, share with all your friends, all that good stuff, and we'll talk to you later.